Imagine waking up without an alarm clock. No boss, no office, no school, no emails, no Monday morning meetings. Does that mean ancient people spent their days relaxing? Not even close. Long before the first cities, kingdoms, or companies existed, every day was a fight for survival. There were no jobs in the modern sense, but everyone had work to do. If they didn't, they might not live to see the next sunrise. So what exactly filled their day? Let's travel back tens of thousands of years. The first thing ancient humans did after waking up was check their surroundings. Was there danger nearby? Had wild animals entered the camp? Was everyone in the group safe? Safety always came before anything else. After that came the most urgent task of all, finding food. Unlike today, there were no supermarkets, restaurants, or food delivery services. Every meal had to be earned. Men and women often worked together, though the exact roles varied between cultures. Some hunted animals. Others gathered fruits, nuts, roots, seeds, insects, shellfish, or edible plants. Finding enough food could take many hours. Sometimes hunters returned with a large animal. Other times they came back empty-handed, meaning everyone had to survive on whatever else could be found. Water was just as important. People regularly walked to rivers, streams, or springs to collect fresh water. This was not always safe. Crocodiles, big cats, or rival groups could be nearby, so even fetching water required caution. Much of the day was also spent making and repairing tools. Stone axes became blunt. Spears broke. Animal skin clothing tore. Baskets wore out. Firewood had to be gathered. Without tools, hunting and gathering became much harder, so repairing them was essential. Fire itself demanded constant attention. Once people learned to control fire, they tried not to let it go out. Starting a new fire from scratch could take a long time. Someone often watched the fire, added wood, cooked food, dried meat, and kept dangerous animals away during the night. Children were never simply left alone. They learned by watching adults. Boys and girls copied hunting, gathering, tracking, cooking, crafting, and storytelling. There were no classrooms, but learning happened every single day through experience. Older people played a vital role too. Even when they could no longer hunt, they shared knowledge. They remembered where food could be found during different seasons, which plants were poisonous, how to avoid predators, and how to survive harsh weather. Their experience often meant the difference between life and death. Ancient people also spent time building and maintaining shelters. Depending on where they lived, they repaired huts, caves, tents made from animal hides, or simple wooden structures. Wind, rain, and animals constantly damaged these homes. Cleaning was another daily task. Animal bones had to be removed. Waste had to be kept away from sleeping areas. Food had to be protected from insects and scavengers. As evening approached, the pace changed. People gathered around the fire. They cooked, ate, shared stories, sang, laughed, taught children, and planned the next day's activities. These stories were more than entertainment. They passed down survival knowledge, family history, beliefs, and traditions long before writing existed. Ancient humans also spent time observing nature. They watched animal movements, changing seasons, stars, weather patterns, and the behavior of birds. These observations helped them know when to migrate, where to hunt, and when rain might come. There was no calendar hanging on a wall. Nature was their calendar. Did they ever relax? Yes, but relaxation looked very different from ours. After a successful hunt or during quieter seasons, people talked, played simple games, made music using drums or flutes, danced, created body art, carved objects, or simply rested together. These moments strengthened friendships and family bonds, making groups more united during difficult times. One common myth is that ancient people worked every second of every day. In reality, life had busy periods and slower periods. Some days were exhausting. Other days allowed more rest, socializing, and creativity. Instead, they followed the rhythm of nature, sunrise, sunset, seasons, weather, and the constant challenge of staying alive. So although ancient people had no employers, salaries, or job titles, they were far from idle. Survival was their full-time occupation. And perhaps the biggest difference between their world and ours is this. Today, many people work to earn money. Ancient people worked simply to stay alive. But here's the part most people never think about. If ancient humans spent so much time surviving, how did they ever invent anything? The answer is simple. Not every day was a crisis. As humans became better hunters, learned how to make stronger tools, and discovered reliable food sources, they occasionally had spare time. And that spare time changed history. People began experimenting. Someone discovered that certain stones made sharper blades. Someone noticed that seeds dropped into the ground grew into new plants. Someone learned that clay hardened when heated by fire. These small discoveries, repeated over thousands of years, slowly transformed human life. Eventually, some groups stopped wandering from place to place. Instead of constantly following animals, they settled near rivers where water was plentiful and crops could grow. This marked the beginning of farming. And farming changed everything. For the first time, people could produce more food than they immediately needed. Some became farmers. Others specialized in making tools, pottery, clothing, or homes. This was the birth of specialized work, the earliest version of what we now call jobs. So, jobs didn't suddenly appear one day. They evolved gradually as human societies became larger and more organized. Before that happened, every person was responsible for many different tasks. A hunter might also build shelters. A gatherer might also care for children. An elder might teach, repair tools, and help prepare food. There was very little specialization because survival required everyone to contribute. Another surprising fact is that many scientists believe some ancient hunter-gatherers may actually have had more free time than many modern office workers. Why? Because once food had been found and immediate tasks were complete, there were no endless emails, traffic jams, paperwork, or overtime shifts. Their challenges were dangerous, but they were different. Instead of deadlines, they worried about droughts. Instead of paying rent, they worried about finding shelter before the rain. Different world. Different problems. Yet one thing has never changed. Humans have always worked toward a purpose. Whether it was gathering berries 30,000 years ago or writing computer programs today, people have always invested time and effort to improve their chances of survival and build a better future. So the next time someone says ancient people had no jobs, remember this. They didn't have careers. They had responsibilities. And those responsibilities laid the foundation for every civilization, profession, and industry that exists today. Without the daily efforts of those ancient men and women, there would be no villages, no cities, no schools, no technology, and no modern jobs at all. The world we live in today was built one day at a time by people who never clocked in, but who worked every day just to keep humanity alive. If you enjoyed this journey into the distant past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more fascinating stories from beyond history.